anything you do is successful, someone's going to copy it. That's just the way it is. So what I want people to know is that Colonel Blades is now Regiment Blades.
Welcome to another episode of the CarryTrainer Higher Line podcast. Hey guys, welcome to yet another episode of the CarryTrainer Higher Line podcast. I am in the secret lair of the creator and inventor of the Regiment Blade, Stabby Pokey Al Salvitti.
How you doing, Mick?
I'm doing really good.
Good.
I've been in New Jersey for the last couple weeks. They don't talk as weird as you do, but some of them remind me of you. Like one guy's like, "Yo, Mick, there's this joint with this beef, and you want a glass of fucking water."
Oh yeah, water. It is water. It's not water.
How do you do
That's
it?
my way. Water.
Water. Was in this garage years ago. It was a very hot day. I remember being really sweaty and was checking out some of the blades, then called Colonel Blade.
Right.
You've now revamped that company into Regiment. And I want to talk about that with you. I kind of want to like share, because it's stuff I don't think we've ever talked about, like some of who you are. I know we've definitely in the past talked about your days of bouncing, lifelong martial artist. You've spent a lot of time training some highly trained special operations people.
Yep, you know them.
Do you or will you share about some men that were influential in your life when you were like a kid? Do you remember telling me about your family's friend in the wheelchair?
Wild Bill.
Wild Bill.
Right up here. Wild Bill Garnier, Band of Brothers.
You keep talking.
So when I was a kid, I used to see this guy at every family function. He's in a wheelchair, he's got one leg. So I remember asking my father, after we left, I said, "Who's that guy with one leg? I never saw a guy with one leg before." And he said, "That's Billy." I'm like, "Oh, okay. How did he lose his leg?" So he lost it in the war. And that was it. Nothing. Until Band of Brothers come out, and we're at the 50th anniversary of my uncle, and Wild Bill was the best man at my uncle's wedding. And I hear my cousin going, "That's the dude in Band of Brothers. That's the guy in Band of Brothers." Because no one knew. My uncles didn't know. So that's the first time we found out about it. And it kind of blew me away a little bit because he never said a word ever. So probably for the last 10 years of his life, I would go downtown with my Uncle Albert, and they would talk about the old days.
How old were you then?
Probably around 53.
Okay.
I started going there because my uncle retired, and he couldn't drive anymore. So he said, "I want to go see Billy." So we go to South Philly, and I would just take him, and they would just talk about the old days. And he would ask him about the war, but I never asked him about the war because that's what everybody did. Everybody asked him about the war. But then I would go by myself 2 times a month and see him because he's in South Philly, and I'd bring him food, and we would sit there for hours and just talk and just bullshit. And he would tell me the war stories, and he would tell me a lot of things.
Then?
When I would do that, about 55.
Okay.
So
He
about
was
10
in his
years
50s.
ago. Pardon me?
How old was he?
He died when he was 90. He was probably 82
Okay.
at the time. So when he was still, he remembered everything about the war. So he told me everything from how he started at 15 because they couldn't feed him, and his mother signed the papers when he went into the Army. He wasn't supposed to go till he was 18, but 10 kids, she had a hard time feeding him, so he joined. So it was a mentorship toward the end because it was always like, because I was in the train all my life. South Philly, there's a lot of boxers. My fathers knew a lot of boxers. My uncles knew a lot of boxers. But he had the best insight, was like, you don't really need to do this and do all that training. You just need to have the incentive. Because we would take the teams over, and you're talking the SEAL teams who wanted to see them. So we'd take 10 or 12 over, and they would ask him a ton of questions. And they would ask him, like, is there some magic? They were looking for the magic. And he's like, no, we just ran, or we just exercised. We killed them because they were going to kill us. And that's it. So he had a lot of insight. As I developed more training later on, there's cut mostly everything out because you don't need it. And he was the source of that.
A lot of people probably recognize those pictures from minutes prior to the D-Day invasion of those guys painted up with war paint on.
Right.
That was his crew of dudes, right?
Right. Yep. He like that old movie with red buttons got hung up on the steeple. Well, he landed on the courtyard. And he went back there later and he sprayed the spot where he landed. And he knew the guy that got hung up on the steeple.
Wow.
He told me everybody knows the story. The night before he jumped, he borrowed a coat to go into the tree, and there was a letter in there that he found that his brother Henry got killed, and Henry used to take care of him when he was a kid. So he told me, and he looked at me, he said, "Kid, when I jumped out of that plane, they unleashed a murderer, and I murdered everybody I could." I said, "Well, how long did that last?" He said it probably lasted like 6 months. And I stopped counting at 500.
Holy
He said,
crap.
I killed everything I could. And people would say, he shot the animals, he shot horses and cows. I'm like, Bill, you killed, horses and cows. And he goes, they was German cows, kid. They probably weren't, but it was like, and they all said, if you got in front of him, you were going to get shot. Because that's how wild he was, and that was his name, it was Wild Bill. When he jumped, his legs were asleep. They threw him out of the plane. He landed with nothing. They had these new bags that they tied onto their legs, and it fell off as soon as when he came out. So he landed with nothing.
Like no weapons,
nothing.
No gear?
He landed with nothing. It all came off. So he had to find, there was boxes being dropped by parachutes. He almost got killed by getting hit with boxes and other supplies. So he found his way. He found guns. He found a German gun, he shot that, then everybody shot at him because they knew the sound of a German gun. So he tossed that, and he found a gun, maybe a guy was hung up in a tree that fell off of him. So he had to use all his resources to get back, find his group. They were 8 miles off, but they found each other. And they just did what they had to do. And he just thought it was no big deal. Right? Just like it was another day. I asked him what it was about, how it killing people was like stepping on a bug. He said, I didn't care. They killed my brother. So he said, I shot everybody I could. I shot him in the back. I did everything I could.
So how did this affect kind of who you are today?
Well, it made me realize that you just need incentive. I mean, you can do all the training that you want, but if you don't have any incentive, like he had in the war, you're just going to be mediocre. When he came back, he left it all behind. And they would ask him, like, do you still feel the passion? He's like, you can't let the anger get into you because it'll get in your family. So you got to let it go. So it changed a lot on my training, how I feel about things, and what you really need to do, because all you really need is incentive. You don't need much more, because the other stuff you're just going to make up. But when you have true incentive, things are going to go your way a lot more, because it's going to be more natural.
So you're talking about his incentive, of course, clearly was his finding out his brother was killed.
At first, yeah. Then it was the band of brothers, because they were like brothers after that. Then they were protecting each other, and his incentive was basically said I had to kill everybody I could.
So how's a dude who's just trying to become better at protecting his family, coming home from his job?
Well, he's got to train, number one. Trained is always better. Mm-hmm. I get the natural fighters. You say, well, the natural fighters are born, but great fighters are made, right? So you get in the gym, and your incentive is there's got to be consequences. There's got to be some pain involved. You know what I'm saying? The problem I always had was like they go train, and everybody's happy, and everybody's good, good, and everybody's friends and all. And then I get into a group where they're flogging people and beating people and punching you in the face, and that, to experience it, or what you had experienced. Because when I got in the bars, I forgot everything. I forgot it. The first week, two-handed choke, bang their head on the door frame, right? And I was a highly skilled black belt, like that. And I'm watching this boxer knock everybody out. Everyone. I'm
just
like,
doing 1-2.
Just do pop, 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 pop. Navy boxer. He was Navy boxer, though. I'm like, man, that dude. So I started boxing down in the city, right? In in the ghetto, and it was like trespassers will be killed. That's on the door, you know. So I went to the toughest gym I could find in West Philly, and they beat the hell out of me. They beat you and beat you. That's why I like boxing so much, because you can't take a knee in Philly in boxing. Like, you get hurt and you take a knee, don't ever go back to that gym. You take it, you get knocked out. That's it. That's all you got.
So there's got to be some thoughtfulness about that, because being concussed and having brain damage.
They didn't care.
But I'm saying, like, now you know better.
Now we know better. Sure. I mean, I'm going to take that at 65. I'm not going to go in and get that. Right. But when you're younger, it's better to get your ass kicked in the gym and then go out on the street like a boss, right? That thing I posted the other day, they said Ali never won a round barring in the gym, because they beat the hell out of him. But they made sure. Well, how could that be? He's so great. Well, they would get him tired, and they would put fresh people in there to beat the hell out of him the whole way, the whole fight. Evander Holyfield, remember when I said my sparring partners beat me up, and they're like, well, how can his mediocre sparring partners beat him up? They just get him tired, because everybody's small when they're tired.
Sure.
Right? So, and they makes them fight back, and it gives them the incentive to fight back. And when you're thinking of with your family, you're not allowed to quit. There's no quitting. Daddy can't quit. We can't. That's just the way it is. You cannot quit. You better go get trained not to quit. Now, I understand sport. Look, Nico went jiu-jitsu for years. But after a certain age, when you get a tapping mentality, well, I don't know if you'll quit or not. Maybe. Is it easy just to give up? Or do you do it while somebody's punching you in the face? Because everything's easy when you're not getting punched in the face, right? Or getting whipped with a stick. When I sparred, when I had the Korean guy, and I was probably 18, he used to beat me with a stick while I sparred. While I sparred, okay?
So you had a training partner in front of you. You guys are sparring.
Oh, we're sparring hard, and he's beating me with a stick.
So in addition to the training,
because that's how he learned. Yes, that's how he learned. He got beat with a stick while he sparred. And let me tell you, when you're doing that,
was your objective to just take the pain, or did you also have to try to parry and block?
Oh
the
no,
stick?
you just did. But he was behind you. He'd beat you in the legs. With a cane. No, it wasn't a cane. You haven't lived. You got beat with a cane. And he would call me on the weekends. Okay, now you're talking 1973. It's been 50 years this year that I've been training, and this is what the guy he started with. And he would call me, and answer the phone. Al, you come to school now. Click, and that's it. That's all he'd say. You better get to the school, because I was his first black belt. I thought, oh man, I take the bus down, and we go to the school, and they say, up, change uniform, let's go. We go in the park and kick the trees, and just like that. But when he called you, you better come. Because he'll come knocking on me. He knocked on my door one time. You come train, let's go. I'm like, okay, we're going to go.
Keep going. So you're at a tournament.
So I'm at a tournament, and we're in New York. Man, I don't know. It was a Madison Square Garden tournament. It was not a big deal, but it was a big tournament back then, and I lost. So the next day I get home, and I lost on the first fight, and it doesn't matter how I lost, because it was points, and I got called wrong. Yeah, who cares? No one cares. Next day, Al, you come to school, got the phone call. Okay, I know you're going to kill me now. So take the bus down. I go in. He's sitting at the desk smoking a cigarette, like old Korean gangster. Just like, you know how they used to hold it like that. I'm like, okay, he goes, go change uniform. Okay, so we go in the dressing room. I get changed, and I don't know if I was red belt or black belt then. So I come out. I see him in the office. He comes out. He goes, we're sparring. Oh. No, we're just going to spar. Okay. So we start sparring. Now, he was a 6th degree master champion in Korea, and he would always hold back. But this time, I could feel a little more snap in it this time, because he was mad. He was mad that I lost. And we're going, and he's cracking me good. And I remember throwing a kick, and then all of a sudden, I was up in the air, and it was like a movie slow motion. I'm looking at the ceiling. I hit the floor. He's standing over me. He puts his foot up. It looks like it's on the ceiling. Stops right at my nose. Change uniform, go home. And he went back in the office. That was it. I'm like, okay. And that was it. He got it all out. So he was one of the toughest men I ever met. And he lived it. He lived in the back room of that school and cooked off a hot plate.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. He was the real deal.
I met some guys. A couple of them ended up in the the big leagues of fighting. One of them, when I first met him, was sleeping on a pile of mats and geese in the gym. He'd go to Wendy's and he would get 2 or 3 chicken sandwiches because that's all he could afford because he got paid like, I don't know, a couple $100 a week.
Yeah.
Working at the gym, working the cash register, and then teaching classes. And he'd get the chicken sandwiches, he'd eat one, and then he'd have another one later, and then if he had enough money, he'd get
another one.
Else,
that's what him.
That's all he'd eat.
He lived over a pizza shop. We bought him pizza all the time. Pizza and a Coke. That's it. Smoked cigarettes all the time.
It's weird, the cigarette smoking. You'd think that he'd clean that up, but I guess that was a different time
old
too.
School, yeah, old school Korean, off the right off the boat. Tough. He'd wear his uniform on the L in Philly, on the subway strap. Nobody bothered him. He got his black belt on, his uniform.
Really?
Sometimes in slippers and a 3/4 leather shirt. Jacket, like a Korean gangster. And I said, "You ride the L like that?" He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Nobody bothers you, right?" He goes, "No." They just look at him. And that's through the toughest parts of Philly.
That's funny.
And then, he was hilarious. I taught him to drive. It was like a Karate Kid type thing. He couldn't drive, nothing. But
did he make you wax his cars?
No, he didn't have a
Sand
car.
the floors?
He hit everything with my
Paint the
mother's
fence?
car. No. Oh, no, he beat me.
Paint the house?
He beat me with those chest pulls with the springs. He beat me with one of those once.
Why'd you let him beat you with that?
Because he made me good. I went and trained 5 hours a day, 5 days a week with him. I quit my job. I was 19. They all thought I was crazy. And I elevated 10 years in 4 or 5 months with him.
Just burning.
Burnt 10,000 kicks a week, 2,000 front kicks a day, 500 spinning kicks a day. And it was all about kicking then. It was kicking. And he would leave for an hour or two, and then he'd come back, and then we'd spar. So it's crazy. I got so good. In 5 months of that kind of training, 10 years worth.
You're 65?
65.
You got some weights and stuff in here. You still do any of that?
Yeah, a little bit.
You still got some muscles going for a 65-year-old dude?
Yeah, we're all right.
Yeah?
I feel 65, but hey, you know what? That could change. But
you ever smoke?
Early on.
A little bit?
Yeah, a little
You don't
bit.
drink, I know that. Did you ever drink?
No.
Never?
No, I don't like the taste.
Do you like good food?
Oh, yeah.
You don't eat trash? You drink
No,
soda?
I'm back in the sushi and stuff like that now,
But you're not eating trash?
No, I won't eat it anymore. I don't eat it Wawa anymore, like everybody.
So why does a guy with like 50 years of fight experience need to carry a knife? What are you, a pussy?
Yes, sometimes.
So tell me about the evolution of what was the Colonel and now Regiment.
So look, sooner or later you're going to be like me. You're going to, if you don't die,
what's that?
You're
A
gonna
sexy
be like
old
me.
Italian guy?
Yeah, but you're going to be older, slower. You're going to get weaker because you get weaker every day. Even I don't care how many days or how many hours you spend at the gym. When you get to my age, you're going to get weaker every day. It's just the attrition, right? So I got tired of teaching people blade that just they don't get it. They're looking at it like, every day's the first day. Every day's the first day. And you know what? You're wasting my time. I'm getting older. So and I would go on the trips, and you know the trips I went on, and I would do the open hand combatives and the power
So
hand.
just so we're not speaking in parables to people, what Al's talking about is going and training some very specialized teams of special operations guys, some open hand stuff.
That was my block, was the open hand, power hitting, and a little bit of movement, whatever I could show them in a short amount of time.
What's power hitting?
Being able to knock people out with one shot or change things with one shot, open hand, so you're not breaking your hand. So we're keeping our foot down, we're moving a little bit. At first, it seems we're going to be real stationary, like a Mike Tyson, feet glued to the floor. But then we're going to move a little bit because everyone moves. A lot of people would go with boxing. Now, see, boxing is great. I love boxing, but it's a sport, and there's gloves, and there's rules. And the reason most people fight off their front foot is because they have the luxury of that. When you're in a crowd of 5 or 10 people and you're winging away, you're not going to jab out. You're not going to do the boxing thing. You're going to be swinging for the fences, and that's what everybody does. They can say that they're just going to, every third punch is going to be hard, or you can try this. You're not going to try. You're going to try to hurt that person as fast as you can, as much as you can. You're going to swing as hard as you can because I've done it. I thought that I would black belt going into the bar and I'd be pushing people. It's not that way. Fights don't happen like that. They don't care. They didn't know I was a black belt. No, okay. Hey, I'm a black belt. You can't do that, right? But they don't know. They don't give a shit. So you need to change things quickly because it's never one-on-one. And that's where the power hitting comes in. Because okay, what are we doing now? Now it's just two people. And it's always got to fight for two people. If you can't hurt somebody immediately, fast, well, you're going to be in a problem. It's like trying to roll with two people on the ground. Or roll with one person, a guy standing above you kicking your head off. You got to hurt somebody quick. Okay? So that's why the military liked it.
And just to make sure folks listening understand, you're talking about righteous use of violence and self-defense. I just want to make sure that people listening understand. You're not talking about just hurting people, but when somebody is, for whatever reason, inflicting criminal harm on innocent life.
Well, just think about protecting your wife. I mean, would you hit the guy from the back who's choking your wife, or would you go, oh, excuse me, you want to turn around? And we're gonna duke it up. Right. We're protecting your kid.
Meet me tomorrow at dawn.
Oh yeah. We're gonna do that. Nobody fights fair. I mean, it's a good concept, but and then when weapons get involved, well, all bets are off.
Sure.
So the blade thing, I would watch them do the blade, and I would do blade with them sometimes, and those people were so confused.
You're talking about some of these special operations.
Even special op, yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Oh well. From tier 1 down to just basic, a corporal and the state police. Okay? They would be so confused by the end, and I was a part of that confusion because I would teach Blade 2 sometimes, and I confused more people than anything. I'm like, you know what? They're just not getting it. They're not getting it. Why don't we just make a blade that they punch with? They got the greatest fight room ever. Everybody can throw a punch in here. Every single one. Why don't we just they could slug it up with that? Well, they didn't want to do that because that would take 2 hours, not a week. Now, the guy that I was learning blade from loved the blade. Okay, Sayoc guy. He said, 2 hours, that's all you need. That's it. And he would listen to the videos. You know the videos. He said he wouldn't even watch them. He said, I listen to them. I can tell. So he said, you got something with that, with the punching angle. Now, I've been punching all my life. I'm pretty good at it. And I made it for me. But I figured, if I can do this, you can do this. I see you do that trash can, but you don't have any really formal boxing training for years, did you? Just regular punching, right? Everybody can do it. That way I don't have to go on the trips.
Take this, hold it, punch with it.
There you go. That's it. That's all we want. And we did that in here, and we're like, okay, we'll change it a little here, and we'll do it here. It's because I don't like to travel. I don't like to do that. And go and teach. You don't need me. You already have it. And that's how I learned that from Wild Bill. You already have this kid inside of you. You already got it. You just have to bring it out in a certain way. You don't need me. I don't need a guy to tell me how to be a man, or it's in you already. Just follow people. Good training and bad training go in at the same rate. See, that's the problem. So when you get bad training, it's just like bad food. You don't know you got bad food into you for a while, right? Oh, shit tastes good, right? Man, this stuff really tasted good. But then when it's time, oh, man, it's bad. So that's training the same way. You get bad training, you know what you're going to find out when there's 2 o'clock in the morning in the rain between 2 parked cars, and you forget everything after you get lit in the face. Okay? So good training, and you got to train with people that have been there. Not people that are going to tell you. This is how you tell a good instructor. A bad instructor, to me, will tell you what the other guy's going to do. Okay? Well, when you do this, he's going to do that. And when you hit him here, he's going to bend over there. And see, but it's not true because he doesn't know. See, a good instructor is going to tell you how you're going to feel, what you're going to do. When you do this, you're going to feel that. When he pushes forward, you're going to feel like you're going to need to move this way, or you're going to have to hit this. So when I tell you what you're going to feel, it's because I felt it before. I felt that urgency to get things done, and you have to slow it down because it's so hard to control. The burst, when you burst in a street fight and you miss with most of your shots, you're dead tired, right?
What do you mean by that?
The burst is the adrenaline's rushing, okay? and you're going hard because things are going quick. You're really not sure what's going to happen because you've been training to react to other people's actions, okay? And I did that early on because I trained to react to them. They do this, well, you do that. You do this, and I'm going to do that. So sort of toward the middle, I developed where I would always go first. So I always knew what was going to happen because I made it happen. Instead of waiting for them, you need to react to me and not I react to you. It's like chasing a kid in a playground and he's moving. You don't know where he's going. You have to follow him. So I always made sure that I went first and I knew what I was going to do. And I step to the right, I move in, always, every single one, because that dude didn't see my last fight film.
Isn't there a problem with the legality of throwing the first punch?
Well, when I say go first, everybody thinks it's like I punch him first, okay? But it's not. When I leave the house and I'm ready, I got my blades on, I got a pistol in the car, I already went first. I've turned the switch on.
So first is a mindset.
It's a mindset.
It's not just a physical movement.
Anytime I enter a building, I go into the Wawa, I'm already first because I've seen everybody that's in there. I know I'm going to go over in this direction. I know where my back is toward the wall. Going first is not punching first all the time or shooting first all the time. I'm already on. It's like having my hands up already and you're trying to hit me. It's really hard. But if my hands are down, well, you can maybe sneak a shot in. But my hands are up all the time, mentally. And everybody that comes here gets that from me, that you need to go first, not punch first.
Go first, not punch first.
Right. Because then you're going to get in trouble legally.
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset. You're already on. When I'm on already, you can't sneak me. I'm already ready for it. When somebody's ready for something, it's really hard. But if they're not paying attention, well, yeah, then you can get it in. So the blade came from we're teaching people that are shooters, and they're not really good with knives. So we figured, well, if I make this blade where they can punch and they draw it like a gun, it's going to be a lot easier. And everybody seems to take to it. So in the beginning and pretty quick, it kind of came on that this is the way to go for some people that don't want a lot of blade training. Because it takes years. It takes years to learn that stuff.
You got one on you? Do I have one on me? Do I have one on me?
These are custom ones, of course. But I got the pocket one. And this is a blade that I can punch with. This is like probably a $2 blade. I had somebody make it off of the end of a machete.
And you just did it as you're kind of playing with a new concept with this one.
So the idea is to always train where that it fits into your natural training, right? So if I have to become a blade guy, do the 1 to 12 count, if I have to do that, it changes me. Then
What's
I have
the 1
to
to 12 count? Not everybody knows what the heck any of that stuff is.
I guess it's Filipino. So the 1 to 12. So number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5. Depends what system. 6, 7, or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
You're just making that
So they're all cuts, okay?
Show me again.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, straight up 12. Okay, all right, that's an Arnis 12 count. They switch them up a little bit, but that's the basic. So what I did with the punch blade is that we're going to punch the box. So instead of cut, it's all stabs. So the box is, you draw a box, stab, stab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. That's all. You don't need to do anything else. We don't need to learn number 1, number 2, number 3, how to apply it, do the block. You don't need to do that. You just need to punch and not this. So I've changed the angles. The angles are in and out now instead of this. This easily blocked this way. All this swooping, okay? Easy to get out of this way. It's really meant for a machete and a big weapon, but nobody's carrying machetes.
Why do you think all these guys that have been playing around with this stuff for eons are just continuing to do the same stuff. Tradition.
Yeah, that's tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've never been in a real fight.
I remember, talking like an 8-year-old, I remember a good friend of mine, Todd Fox, I've had on the podcast. Have I ever told you about Todd?
No, I don't remember.
Todd's a super stud. He was a SWAT cop, runs a security company that does very high-profile security for people
Right.
all over the globe. Multi-stripe jiu-jitsu black belt, multi-time MMA fighter. Tough dude. He's still in his 50s, winning international, national level
Right.
jiu-jitsu tournaments. And he talks about a time that he is with a client of his who he's paid to protect this guy.
Right.
But that guy goes and hires like some goofy martial artist to teach him martial arts.
Right.
So he says to Todd, you know, what do you train? And Todd's like, oh, you know, jiu-jitsu, MMA, boxing, wrestling. And he's like, oh, cool. And he tells Todd, he's like, oh, well, you're like high school level. I'm like PhD level.
College, yeah.
And so basically challenges him. Todd calls up Renzo Gracie in New York, and he's like, hey, man, I'm over at Madison Square Garden or whatever doing this gig not far away. Can we use the gym? So he's like, of course. So Hollis Gracie and Renzo meet Todd there, and this guy comes in, and it is exactly what you would imagine. This guy gets his ass beat.
Oh, yeah.
At some point during this little, it's on YouTube too. You guys can Google it up. But this is taking place. Renzo calls, no more strikes, no more strikes. And the guy's like, that's what I do. And he goes, I'm not talking to you because he's
slapping him up.
Yeah. So Todd's just tying the guy up. He keeps double legging him and single legging him. And just it's like a dad playing with his kid in the backyard.
Right, yeah.
There's like nothing. So talking about like the tradition of things, this guy literally has spent his life doing this. After the fact, he said something to the Todd, like, I've wasted 15 years.
Yeah,
I have
absolutely.
completely just pissed away.
I've had that at classes.
Yeah?
Cops have come up and they say, I've wasted 20 years. Yeah, I've had boxers come in here, professional boxers come in here, and I put them on the wall. We ever do the wall? Put your fist on the wall, raise your feet, and they stay there. No, do it again. They think something's wrong. I'm like, you don't have any power there, do you? No. I've been doing this wrong for, no, it's not wrong. It's just different. Mm-hmm. That's all right. Because boxing's a sport and you have a luxury of distance and rules and,
Sure.
you know, over there. But you don't have that luxury out on the street. So one of my friends, my brother, Robert Hines, he beat the white Mike Tyson, Matthew Hilton of the day. And when I put him on the wall, he's like, ow. I said, yeah, you got to keep your foot down. And he's like, if I knew you then, I'd still be champ. Because he lost the next fight after that. Because his trainers, not that they're stone-headed, but they have a way of, in Philly, of not, if they didn't come up with it, it's not right. Okay? And a lot of martial arts are like that. Mm-hmm. But once you feel it, and I was like, well, okay, well, here, the wall doesn't lie. Well, it's not me. You have to put your fist on the wall, raise your feet. You got nothing. Not one person ever gets power off when I show them. No, I don't care. We win the damn neck. We win tier 1 operators with professional boxers. Guys in here are just like this. And you can see it.
Now you're going to have to explain it because the people listening have no freaking idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
Where?
Let's get on the wall. Let's do the wall.
You get on the wall. I'm filming.
Okay, so just right here, we'll do it real simple. Okay, so here's the concept of the wall. You get in your fighting stance, and do a sport fighting stance. Put your fist on the wall, and you raise your front foot, and you push off the back foot, right? But then you put your foot down, and you raise your back foot, okay, even to the toe where it touches, okay? And you feel it, and you'll feel there is no power there. Then you right hand, raise, push, you get the push, and then you raise your back foot, okay? And don't feel that concept. And every sport person you see, this foot is always pump down there because they have the luxury of the long step in this, and they've been training their power. You need to keep your feet down. There's a lot of videos on the internet about keeping your back foot down now, which is they finally realized that's more power, it's a better punch, and you're on one foot. You really can't do anything on one foot, except hop maybe. That's about it. So keep your back foot down. If your head is over your front foot, you're a front foot fighter. That's about, how do you know you're on your front? If your head's over your front foot, you're a front foot fighter, you can't move. This back foot has nothing on it. And they say 50-50. So this moves. This, not this. Because all you have is shoulder power. And it's almost half. So people would come here, and the pros would do this, and they do this, and then they would stop. And they'd be like, all pro boxers jab with their back foot up. They all do it because of the reach. They need the reach. And then they the right hand back. They do this. Put that cigarette out. Okay, they've been doing it forever. Put the cigarette out. You got no power because there's nothing here. Okay, and then when you get on the wall, you find it. Go put the cigarette out on the wall, and you'll feel you only have shoulder power.
So basically, what you're telling folks is
you need to be grounded.
Definitely, it's wasn't intended to be a training video.
Right.
But I want to make sure people
know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You just need to be grounded. So why do people come, or why did they let me go to and teach Tier 1 operators? That's why, because they want to know how to hit hard and knock people out, and they can't do it right now, not with their traditional boxing training or even Muay Thai. The things that end street fights are punches to the head, or if you body slam somebody on the ground. But that takes time, okay? That's what ends fights, punches to the head, in my experience. Nothing else. Maybe you get a liver shot, but you know what? Trying to get a liver shot's hard. I've seen it.
Can't you just kick somebody in the penis?
You
can. Kick him in the dick,
But
dude.
I've seen, you know the bare knuckle guy, David Feldman? He's from here. I used to bounce with his brother. I trained with his father. I seen him knock a dude out with a liver shot, dude. That's a tough dude. He's no joke. I don't know if Dana White ever did anything, but I know David Feldman, and I watched him. And on the street, that dude's the real deal. We've been in some street fights together.
So can't you just kick a guy in the dick?
Yeah, you can, but I don't know if it's going to hurt him, depending on the size of his dick.
I've been kicked in the dick
That hurts,
so many
doesn't it?
times, and never once did I go to the hospital or...
No.
Yeah.
No.
The old peen shot.
Yeah.
All right, fast forward. So
All
you've
right.
got this company. So there was like a period of time this thing was completely off the market. You guys had multiple products, folder, a couple variations of the straight blade. And now it seems there's good inventory. You guys partnered with BCM, Bravo Company, which is near me in Wisconsin.
Right.
So Paul initially was a vendor for you guys selling it?
BCM was selling the Colonel. Maybe started 2016 as they did the video of me on BCM. And they changed it. They just changed the names of some of it, the regiment now, because we revamped everything. The company wasn't going in the direction that we wanted to, so it was off the market for a bit. Things needed to be redesigned. Not that they weren't listening to me, but they needed to change, so we forced the change. The folder needed to be changed. The other design of the blades needed to be changed. Other products were going to come into play that are still on the board, and they were being developed. And the way we were going this way with Colonel Blades was not the way that I wanted to go or the other partners wanted to go. So we changed almost everything. And we changed the name, we changed the style of the blades to just use it the same way, but we tweaked everything where everyone was happy with it. And now we have an inventory, and it took a while because it was during COVID, right? We were down during COVID, so that was a big deal. We couldn't get anything. Nothing was moving. But 2 years after that thing started to move. So that's when the engineering and the designing, and then so we had some real engineers, right? So we went and changed almost all of it.
So if somebody buys a box or buys a product, it's going to come in a package now. If it's your patented product, it's going to have that logo on it.
Everybody's the same.
So if people are out shopping around for these things, if it's a legitimate product coming from you guys, it's got the Regiment Blade on it, Regiment Blade's name on it now, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
The folder's been redesigned.
What did you change?
So we redesigned the folder so the locking mechanism would automatically lock. Okay, the secondary lock. There's a wedge lock in the new one, and we cut up into the handle so we can get 2 fingers in if we need to, and we give a lot of space in here for your finger. So the lock goes on automatically. I didn't like the other locking mechanism of the original kernel folder. So this was redesigned for that reason.
So better improvement on the original. Cool.
Absolutely. You take a step away. You don't have to put the safety on.
It automatically pops on. Can you open that thing very quickly? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it goes on pretty quick.
Do that again.
Okay. See, I designed this so you just put it on and ready to go. I don't flip. I don't like that. I don't do that.
Yeah, not very robust as your fingers are.
Right. Don't it just right on, and you could open that on anything. It doesn't it could be your arm. It could be a person. It could be anything. So it doesn't matter. All right. You can still do this if you want. Right. But I don't like it. I designed it to be open, slammed way, and we've slammed one open for 15,000 times, and it's still holding good.
People. I've heard say they don't like the idea of a ring on a knife. It can be stripped away from you. Somebody can torque your finger off or something.
I've heard that thing about they call it degloving, but you're not going to do. We made this so big that it's not going to be an issue. You could drop this at any time.
So I think somebody's talking about possibly having it get torqued across your finger.
Sure, but you can do that with a gun and a trigger guard.
Sure.
So if you're willing to put your finger in a trigger guard of a gun, you keep your knuckle out, right? So on this, it's the same concept. I don't have to put my finger in the hole right here. It still works just as well. This does nothing but pull the blade out. That's it. Okay? You want a little retention cutting down, it'll stop it there. But you're not going to get your finger caught in this unless you have King Kong fingers.
King Kong fingers.
Right? So maybe a double, but I'm willing to take that risk on 2 fingers. Right? So as far as, so if I do it on left hand, I can put it in here. If I do it on right hand, here, this, I can still draw and shoot with this. So I want to hold on to it. Okay? So I get this squeeze, I want to hold on to it. All right? And I got that from the guys in the field would drop their knives. They would drop their Glocks. If they had a Glock and they drew it, instead of putting it back in, they throw it away to go to rifle. Okay? But they're throwing away a loaded gun. Right?
Who are we talking about?
Tier 1 operators.
Okay.
Okay?
So
when they were in a house, or
you're saying that guys told you this. You're not just telling the viewers this. You're saying that you have been told this. Yep.
Firsthand, they would throw it away instead of try to reholster because there's no time. There's no time to reholster. Okay, so they would just toss it and go to rifle. So instead of the blade, I would rather keep it than being able to if I need to go to pistol.
What year did you start the patent process for these blades?
2012.
2012, so over 10 years ago. So it takes a little while to get those. You've got 1 patent?
I got a total of 7 patents.
7 patents?
But not 2 on the blade. There's 2 on this pistol grip fighting knife.
So if somebody goes out and buys one of these, there's a patent number.
There's a patent number on it.
People that know me know I'm a weirdo about that stuff because I hate thievery. I've actually been a thief in my life at various points, so I think I don't want to be a
That's why you hate it.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I have kids that work for me that they don't lock anything because, now I know 2 things. They're not thieves because they don't lock anything, and they don't steal stuff or have things stolen from them, right? They didn't have anything stolen from them, so they don't lock it.
Sure.
So that's how you define a thief.
I mean, what's weird about the space that we're in, you've got the Bill of Rights, Article 2 up here. Everybody in this kind of like freedom-loving, we're outside of the birthplace of the Republic here by Philly. Folks talk a good game, but then you get people that like, public persona, you know, I'm this great
Yeah,
patriot, lover of liberty, and then you find out they're snaky, and it's, you know, not even anything to do with the regiment. You got guys that are, you know, not paying their bills. You got dudes that are, you know, doing all kinds of underhanded crap, stolen valor kind of weirdness, or just regular consumers that see a product, XYZ product, and they go, oh, here's another dude selling one. My
Looks
friends,
like the same.
My friends from Radian Weapons have patents on all their products, but the charging handle, which they legitimately sell OEM to Daniel Defense and all kinds of other companies, there's 5 knockoff companies that just spit them out like you know, paper airplanes, and every time they stop somebody, you know, they just change companies. But who's driving that? This consumers that would rather save $20, and they think, well, first of all, they're buying a product that's inferior because they're built in some crap factory overseas versus in Oregon. But over $20, guys would happily stick it up some dude's ass that invested the money and resources and tooling, designs, patents, etc. You know, talk about that a little bit.
Having patents is like having children, okay? It's a constant thought process of development. When you're developing something that you're going to be patented, and not that you were winning a patent like an award, they always make it like that. That's not the way it is. Just it has to be unique. And you have to figure out certain ways to patent things.
Okay.
So it's a constant thought process. And I mean from the time I get up to the time I go to bed. Now I do a little bit of work, plumbing here and there, but everything else is this blade constantly. 50 years I've been training. I've been to train the greatest warriors that this country's ever seen. And I got white collar people knocking my products off that I designed, that came out of input from them, that came out of guys that come and train with half their shoulders blown off, scars on their faces, and they come limping in, and they want to know and hear what I have to say, and I get their input. And that's what goes into these blades. That's why these blades look the way they look. They move the way they move. It's because of those people. And we got some people that get paper cuts for a living. They're going to put this blade out and claim that they designed it, or they helped design it, or they know how to do it. Haven't been punched in the face ever. They haven't felt the urgency of defending their family or their self ever. And I think that the people that buy these blades are the ones that are supposed to try them in the arena of the social media. The courts are useless. The courts aren't going to do anything. So when we make these blades, we make them for people that want to defend themselves and defend their families with lethal force if they need to. Not with a lot of training, because who's got time to dedicate your life to a martial art that most of the time you're not even going to be able to do? It's not going to work for you. We make these blades for people who are serious about defending themselves and their family. And when they get knocked off from other people, don't have a clue of why they're designed that way, why they look that way, why. They don't know the why. They just know that people like them and they think they're cool, and they're going to buy them and they're going to try to make money off them. This is what it's like to go into a room full of Tier 1 operators. Now, the first time I went, I took Nico was 17. He's probably the youngest instructor ever to go there. There's 40 dudes looking at you with this intense look that I never felt before, laser focused on what I'm saying. And no matter how I moved into the room, they followed me every single step. And I'm like, but I'm not used to this. You know, you train people. They're playing with stuff, playing with whatever they can find. It was intimidating the first time because I never had people pay attention to me for that long of amount of time. It was a 2-hour block. And they want to know, show me again, show me again, show me again. I was tired by the time, just from the intense feel of the room. The room is an incredible feel. Now, I've been Camp Pendleton with the Marines. They played with their knives, but When you go up to tier 1, totally different levels. So when the focus is incredible, for me it was. But I got used to it after the 3rd and 4th time. But the first time, it's intimidating, and I know some people would want to leave the room. So whatever I'm telling them has to be true and that they can feel it. Otherwise, they'll just throw you right out of the room. They can't have somebody come who they think they're better than. I've had majors in here saying, the shooting instructors came and we were better than them. We just told them to go sit down and we used the range. I mean, that's their attitude. So
rightly so in some ways, right?
It is, absolutely. Yeah. So you have to bring it, is what I'm saying. So that's how these knives came about, from bringing it and getting the input of guys that want to know, show me again, this is what I need. So that's why they look the way they look. That's why they're marketed the way they're marketed. And they're not going to change. That's it. We have finished the design.
If you had the opportunity, which we're doing it right now, the opportunity to tell people, why buy yours over the knockoff? I mean, are you getting rich? Is it helping you get rich? I mean, this training palace shows me riches.
You know, off this whole blade thing, I not one dime yet.
You haven't made a dime?
Not a dime.
That's bullshit. You've sold them all over the internet.
Yeah, well.
Come on.
Okay.
You've not made one dime.
You told me you don't want to talk about that. Well, I got a lot on that.
Wait a minute. You've not made one penny. I've known you for 6-7 years.
No.
You've not made one penny. So in all these years, you haven't earned a profit yet.
No.
All these sales. So
there's plenty of profit. We had to start over. We started over with Regiment Blades.
What'd you learn from all that? Years you guys were selling this. I mean, I know hundreds of students of ours.
Oh, yeah.
Customers, students of ours that have these things in their pants.
2.9 million in sales.
And you didn't get to make any money. So talk about what you learned from that and how it got you to where you're at now. You're a business guy. You've been self-employed for what, 30-something years?
Yeah.
So you're not stupid.
No. Trusted the wrong people. That's basically it. Trusted the wrong people. I handpicked everybody for Colonel Blades, and it was the perfect storm. One guy was for credibility, one guy was to manage the money, put some in it, and then there was me. I did all the demos, I designed everything, I patented everything. It was perfect for the time that you saw it, okay? But people are people. Some people can't stay in their lane, and that's the reason we didn't make any money. They couldn't stay in their lane. They wanted to be somebody else. Now, what I learned from that is, people tell you exactly how they are. You just have to pay attention. You can't talk yourself out of something. Now, I thought that it was fixable, but it went really fast downhill, and it wasn't fixable. And that's how we wound up. New company, new people, because it wasn't fixable, and it just moved too fast. Because sometimes you're going to fool yourself and talk yourself into thinking that you can control it. And it's hard to control people.
I guess right now is a perfect opportunity because, like, in this space, any space, I guess if you were in the hair care space or fashion or any of that kind of crap, you have
plumbing,
drama, plumbing, sure.
Yes.
This old house, that's from out this way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and there was all kinds of like little backdoor stories and stuff about those guys.
Sure.
Normie Abrams and Tom
from
Silva.
Your guy. That's from he's from your neighbor. Oh, no, well, he's from New Hampshire.
He's from out this way. Tom Silva, who's a fantastic carpenter.
Yeah.
But there's always talk, right? Like, oh, this happened or that happened. How can you put a, I guess, statement so people moving forward just know so that they're not saying the wrong things. Or
you have to pay attention to what people are telling you. And people tell you exactly what they're going to do, but you have to pay attention. You can't talk yourself out of it. Now,
so you're saying maybe you just wanted to believe something that wasn't
no, you
the
think
case?
I'm old enough to know not just to believe something. I just thought I could control it. Okay?
So like when somebody gets like, never mind, keep going.
Right. Yeah. So the older you get, you think you can control the situation more. But you don't know how people act when they're not around you. Okay? I mean, I've called people later and they say, oh, you were in Colonel Blades? You were a partner? And they didn't know. Why didn't you know? Because whoever they were dealing with never mentioned anybody else. You know, that kind of thing. So when you think you can control the situation, you think you got it covered, even though you have people work for you. Nobody likes them, but you kind of like them a little bit. And you say, well, I can control them because, you know, we're a little tight. But at the same time, completely different person when they leave. Completely. And then you hear it later on, like, oh, man, hey, different. So don't think you can control because you can't. I would always prefer to just do this myself, but I can't put it out there. It's just me. I need partners.
It always takes.
I need the credibility factor, which is BCM, Northern Red, and me together.
I found out about you from Tom Spooner.
From Northern Red.
Tom Spooner was like, hey, do you know Alan? I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. Not that, you know, take nothing, you don't know who I am.
Right.
And it's like, I thought if Tom, you know, says this guy's somebody.
Well, isn't that what it's always about? If somebody recommends, if you vouch for someone, and that's a big deal though. When you vouch for somebody and then they screw up, then you don't feel good, right?
Lord knows I know.
You know, right?
Yes.
So that's the same thing. And when I vouch for somebody, I take that serious. And then when it goes the wrong way, that's when it really pisses you off. But there's no true way to find what somebody's thinking, you know.
Deeds, not words. I got that one logo, facta non verba.
And what they do,
Watch
people
their
say
deeds.
a lot of things, but what they do is matters.
There's a couple different organizations. Now, there's other blades that are punch blades that have nothing to do with this design. But there's some out there that pretty much look like the exact same.
Exact same thing, yep. But there's really no video on them, though. Nobody's putting it out and showing you why it looks like that, or how it works, or how it draws, or how fast you can get it out. They just put a blade out because they're made by people who make knives, and then they make another one. And then they make another one, and another one, and then they got 10 and 20 blade. We're not doing that, right? We're making this. Now, the tip of the blade may change, maybe, but that's it. The way it works is the way it works. Okay, the knockoffs, no, yeah, you can do it, but at the same time, go ask them how they came up with that design. And they're not going to tell you. They're just straight blades. Everybody, I carry straight blades still.
Sure.
Okay, that they're for a purpose. Everybody has a purpose on straight blades.
Opening my banana.
Yeah, same thing. Everybody has that same thing. It's straight. Okay, I'm not putting down anybody else's blade, but when I need this to do the exact job that I carry it for, this is the blade I'm going to go to. If I'm just going to cut somebody up to get them off me, that's different. Like I said, you cut your family, everybody else gets stabbed, right? Because cutting, I never heard on the news somebody was cut to death.
Slash.
Yeah, slash. You cut their arms, and they get them off you, that kind of thing. That's different than when you get that mindset of like everybody in the room mindset. Yeah, that's what this mindset for. Because you're not going to think about it. There's no technique. You're just going to go, right? So the people that are going to buy the knockoffs, look, they're always going to be there. Everybody, if your blade or anything you do is successful, someone's going to copy it. That's just the way it is. But it's different that, say, somebody in your family copied it. That's a little, see, that's where it changes. You know, or somebody that you trusted.
Or that people look up to.
Or that look up to. Or and then they don't know.
A question that I hear often is, why don't they fabricate those in the U.S.? I think it's probably a valuable thing to explain.
Okay, well, we did.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to buy them. They cost too much.
So that's always, I'll get that. So I own Gunfighter Oil. We make products. I get that. I try to find U.S.-made stuff. People go to Walmart, fill shopping carts full of stuff that's cheap, And this kind of comes full circle to the discussion of buying the knockoff stuff. People are oftentimes just motivated by the cheapest cost. You're not making a low quality product, but you're manufacturing it in a place where the cost is less than it is.
Less than in U.S. Right. So here's my feelings on Taiwan. In the beginning, I didn't want to go to Taiwan. We started to do Taiwan. Japan
like
used
years
to be,
ago, 30 years
Colonel,
ago, Taiwan was like cheap
junk,
plastic
right.
toys.
And before that, it was Japan. Remember, made in Japan was bad, but then Japan.
Now Japan's like nice.
Well,
Toyota.
Right, it was good, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Japan came up. So I didn't want to go with Taiwan in the beginning until I saw the blades. Like, they're making a good stuff. And I researched them. Taiwan has passed. They have surpassed Japan in their quality.
In
Making blades. When it just comes to blades, because every Spyderco, Gerber, all the big boys, they all go to Taiwan. They don't go to China. Now, China is worse than Taiwan ever was. It just falls apart in China. The Taiwan, let me see that folder, it's incredible. But if I made that here, it's going to be about $500. Now,
are you serious?
when the last ones would go to $400 to $500.
So if you were to go to a
Damascus.
U.S. knife maker and you said, make me this.
Right, they range in from $200 swings, from $300 to $500 on the pricing.
And that's because labor costs, insurance
of course,
costs.
it is.
all
Yes, and
this
the Americans are way different.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I would love to have them made here, but they're just going to sit on the shelf. There's all the people that complain that they're made in Taiwan, or all the people who complain that the price is too much in America.
So I guess here's a good spot to say, hey, if you own a manufacturing business that can fabricate beautiful blades and can do it at an affordable price, send me a message and I'll pass you on to him.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, it's the
So
always a market.
you would do it if it could be done at a cost that there's room for everybody to make.
The low rider holsters that we do are made here. They're made in Ohio. My guy Eddie, he makes them. I would love to get everything made here, but we won't go to China. Taiwan, they really come through on it. I mean, I've slammed that thing open 15,000 times, and it's not moving. So it's pretty good. The ones from Italy, they're broken already.
It's kind of like, so I carry those little SIG 365s. I break them because I treat them like a duty gun.
Use them, yeah.
These things are not meant to be, they're meant to go in a holster and then be used in a moment of duress. And they should last a million lifetimes.
Right, yeah.
Because they're not meant to be opening letters. And,
yeah, right.
I mean, I think a lot of folks don't understand. They should. Like the pocket knife I have right there, that's for cutting the rope and doing the things. A fighting knife, and this is my thought, of course I could use this for that.
Right,
and I
but
keep
I'm not
it sharp.
gonna. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna.
But
here's the thing, it doesn't matter really where it's made because they have the old ISO 2000, whatever, quality control bullshit.
Well, that's not bullshit. If that factory is ISO 9000
they do,
certified.
Absolutely do.
Okay, that's meaningful.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they all have them though. The Italy and the Fox Knives has them, and but all the big boys are in Taiwan. Cold Steel, we're right next to the Cold Steel plant. These people make it for Columbia River, Tool Knife, whatever they are. Everybody's there. It's like it's just not Regiment Blades is there. They're all there. So we just jumped in with everybody else. And they make good shit.
So right now, regimentblades.com.
Yes.
BCM, Bravo Company. Paul Buffoni.
Right.
Those are the only two places to buy
That's
those. So if somebody sees them on Amazon, it's not your blade.
It's not
if somebody sees one there's nobody else reselling them.
No.
If they are, they're not doing it properly.
Right.
What do you want people to know about you, the product, what you guys do out here?
Okay, well, we don't do anything out here where people can come, so we're not going to do that.
That's not what we're saying. I'm saying like the philosophy.
Don't come. So what I want people to know is that Colonel Blades is now Regiment Blades. Okay? It's all the same designs, but tweaked over for better quality. Okay? Through design. It's going to work better for you. And what we do out here is a constant testing all the time of the blades, of the products that we're making, the holsters, how they work, how they hold up. So what you're getting is they've been tested already. They've been evaluated by military guys that use them in the field and give us feedback. So that's the best way that we can bring a product to you. You ready?
Sure.
Okay, so Mick, we have the Damascus Low Vis Pro, #1, right off for a gift for all the things you've done for Colonel Blades and Regiment Blades over the years.
This is badass. I've seen you showed a video. I wanted to open this on the video that we're making. So this is #1 of 250.
First
you just
run.
Put that sticker on there.
It's on the inside.
I don't even want to open it. It looks so beautiful.
Oh, no, way you feel it. They really did a good job.
So you guys had Damascus made up.
Probably.
How do I do it? How do I do it?
Fold it up. That should be that way.
Oh.
It's a display box too, right?
Holy shit. That's super cool. Limited series, Model 1. I got to be careful with this.
Yeah, you can't stab trash cans with that.
I was about to say, we got to get a trash can. Wow, that Damascus is beautiful.
The handle feels really good, right? I mean, they really did a good job on the handle.
What is that? Micarta?
That's micarta, but they roughened it up for me because I always like a rough handle. But that one feels really good, right?
That's
on
cool.
the spine, it's got the all the things.
Like they medium blasted it.
Yeah,
and then
on the spine.
Limited edition, 1 of 250. Dude,
They're never making that style again. So
that's super cool, man.
that's it.
I appreciate
Check out
that.
the sheath. We redesigned it. We got the name on the sheath. Changed color a little bit.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it came out really good.
This is injection molded, it looks
Yeah.
like. So, of course, as he stated, this is more of a collector's piece, which I will definitely not be stabbing trash cans with it. But that is super cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate that.
Yep. We tried to do it after the 9/11 grips. Well, 1911, I mean. Right? They feel good.
1 trash can. Come on.
Go ahead. Yeah, just clean it up.
I want to film you guys. This is super cool. I want to film you guys doing some training here, and we can kind of let folks see what you do. Your son's in here. You got the
David's here.
Got
You can do
Dave.
that arm thing on that arm pad. So you want to practice your arm hits. We'll be doing a lot of arm conditioning. So we can try that.
Hold on, before we get off camera. How do people find out what you guys are working on? How do people follow? How do people
You follow Regiment Blades on Instagram, Al_Regiment Blades on Instagram.
So it's your personal one where you're out there slapping crap and stabbing stuff.
Yep.
Al_Regiment
Blades
on Instagram.
On Instagram, and Regiment_Regiment Blades. So we're
Regiment_.
Right, Blades.
Got it.
Okay, and then you go from there because we're starting to post a lot of different things now, as you see. So we got a guy.
RegimentBlades.com to purchase. Bravo Company USA
to purchase.
Very cool. And I know you should also check out Bravo Company on Instagram too. They got a cool Instagram account. Don't be dickheads. Let's see some training.
Okay.
Visit our website, CarryTrainer.com, for information about classes held throughout the U.S., CarryTrainer apparel, and upcoming projects. You can also email us at training@CarryTrainer.com for information about setting up your own private course or speaking engagement. Training@CarryTrainer.com or CarryTrainer.com.